Hi, parents and caregivers. My name is Natalie Lewis, and I work at the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about responding to and also supporting your young writer at home. So imagine this scenario. Your child comes to you and they say something like, "Look what I made." And they're holding out something that they made. You probably already respond with something like this. "Let me see." And then imagine that this is what you see. So you might see something like this. Pictures with some labels, right? And some sentences down here, and there's one page, and then 2 pages like that, 3 pages, and then here's even a 4th page. So it feels like, or maybe even a 5th page. Whoa, yeah, there's a lot of pages. So there's 6 pages in this story. So you might see this, and then you might say something like, I'm going to look really carefully first. I'm really going to look. And you might invite your child to do it with you. Do you want to look with me? And then this gives you a chance to really try to see what they've written and what they've made. And you can just do this silently at first. So you can really just be looking, trying to read the labels, which you may not be able to read. Okay, so hold on. The next step comes. For now, you can just be quietly really looking it over, trying to read the words. Don't worry too much if there's some words you can't read. Really appreciating what they put in the pictures, your child, trying to get the gist of the story. So this part is you silently trying to read. Okay, and then, especially in this story, there are some things that are easy to read and some things that are hard to read. And the truth is that as you get to know your child as a writer, their own particular ways of writing words, as they continue to know more about writing words, you'll come to understand. It's almost like their temporary spelling becomes clearer to you the more you look at their writing. But you might say something next like, will you read it to me? Because that gives you a chance to hear what they wanted to say. It's also so good to always have kids rereading their writing. More rereading of writing is always good. So then they can touch each label and they can say things like apple tree, sun, dad, and then they might read the words in the sentence below. I went apple picking. My father was in front of us. Do you see that? Remember, your child is doing this. They might even be pointing with their finger. Yes. My father got to the top of the hill before us. My father kicked apples down the hill. Me and my brother laughed. Do you see that? We kept on walking, and my father kept on kicking apples. Such a good story. My father kept on kicking apples down the hill. And then look, the word is right here. Look, me and my brother kept on laughing. My father kept on kicking. Nice, right? Did you see how if your child reads that, you don't have to worry about you're not sure what it says, okay? So then you might say, especially if you were paying really careful attention, you might say, can I read it back to you? And really the power of this is that your child gets to hear their words with a little bit of reverence to them. You're reading them sort of like they're gold. So you might sound a little bit like this. I went apple picking. My father was in front of us. Do you see how it makes the story feel, bigger and more important than probably how your child read it when they read it? Okay, and then after I hear the story, I always want to try to respond authentically. So I might say something like, wow, or wow, or wow. And then things like, tell me more about this page or this part. Or I might say, oh, I remember that. And I also remember, or I might say, I didn't know. So these are all ways to respond to the writer and to be sharing this moment together that your writer got down on the paper. After my response, then I might say something like, so what's next? For this writer, they could really use two big things, I think. I'm hoping they'll say this when I say what's next, that they want to add more to the picture and add more to the words. That's always a good, at this stage, always a good thing to be doing next. I also might ask about who is this for or where should we put it? And I also might say, so what will you work on next? Okay, so those are some tips for responding to your young writer. And now I just want to talk for a second about what's next, supporting their growth as writers. So first of all, in terms of what this writer has learned to do, she has really learned how to hear many sounds in words and then match those sounds with a letter. So she writes went, and yes, she doesn't hear the n sound in went, but she hears w-et, right? So this writer's hearing many sounds, or apple in this word, those are all the sounds. So if you look at several examples, pick and ing, that is how you spell it. Although it looks like the G is reversed, and that's okay. Maybe some in the air writing over and over again where the child learns to make the letter the correct way will help with solidifying the direction of that G. So this child is able to hear a lot of sounds and put letters to those sounds. A couple of things that could be next, more consistent spaces. So like here, there's some good spaces between went and apple and picking, but look here, father was in front of us. It's hard to read this because the spaces between the words are tricky. Spaces are tricky for kids in the beginning. So you might want to do side-by-side writing where you show how you write a word and then leave a space. Write a word and then leave a space. And you might even say that out loud so that your child can be copying that same thing and hear that same sort of like saying, write a word, leave a space in their own heads. And the last thing here is probably this writer could work on uppercase and lowercase letters, right? Like in the alphabet chart, there's the uppercase and then the lowercase letter. And most letters we use in writing are lowercase. So this writer is using mostly uppercase. So it could be nice to work on getting this writer to use more lowercase letters in their writing. I hope this has really helped you to think about responding to and supporting your young writer at home. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your care. Be well.